A win is a win. Detroit got out their 13th straight victory tonight in Indiana. We'll recap the whole game in just a moment. Welcome back to the Pistons Jack YouTube channel. As I said off the top, the Pistons have won their 13th straight game in a row, tying their franchise record, which I believe has been done multiple times, once in 05-06 and once back in the late 80s, I believe. And tonight, after controlling the game and leading by double digits for most of the second and third and parts of the fourth, the Pistons squeeze out a 122-117 victory against a feisty Pacers opponent, and they secure another win. And as I said, their 13th in a row. And this game I'm not going to lie, it was a bit scary there down the stretch. I think we'll just jump straight into the fourth quarter, because for much of the first quarter was kind of back and forth. I think the Pistons ended up leading by 3 or 5, which is to be expected on the road. The defense was a little loose, but at the same time, like, the home team, they've got a lot of their key players back now that are going to be healthy for the rest of the season. They're still without Aaron Naismith, but they got Siakam back and healthy. They have Mathurin now back and healthy for a week, and they have Nembhard. So yeah, it was to be expected they'd come out close. I spoke about that on the preview yesterday. And then the Pistons really took control in the second quarter, like they did against the Bucks. Got out to like an 18, 19-point lead. Finished the half up 15. And third quarter was pretty similar as well. And then we get to the fourth, and the Pistons lead started at like 12 or 13, and the Pacers just kept chipping away. They kept getting to the free throw line. Pascal Siakam's really good at drawing fouls. He always ends up on the floor and always gets the calls, but, you know, I think this is something Cade could learn from. We don't want Cade hitting the deck as much as Siakam does, but if you exaggerate that contact, the rest reward it, because Cade tonight really, unless he's getting smacked and falling on the floor, like, he doesn't get free throws. But Pacers got it all the way back down to 3 points, largely off the back of Jarace Walker, who entering the game tonight, had the lowest field goal percentage of any qualified players in the league. So he's like shooting the ball, one of the worst players at converting, not just 2-point, but 3-point as well. And him in the fourth quarter really sparked the Pacers, I think he hit 4 threes in the fourth. He was 4 or 5 from 3 in the fourth, hit 4 in a row. And it felt like there for a second, after the Pistons got it back to like 10, he hit like a pair of threes, and all of a sudden it was back to like 5 points. And TJ McConnell was getting the crowd going. And it just felt like maybe the basketball gods, they're on the sides of the Pacers here in this fourth. A guy who cannot hit a shot to save himself this season is not missing nothing but net from deep in Jarace Walker. But no, our resilient Pistons, as they've done for honestly pretty much this entire year now. Like, they never really give up in a game, but particularly on this win streak, they always fight back. And it was Cade who, with the Pistons only up to back down Benedict Mathurin, he hunted Benedict Mathurin because Nembhard was picking him up full court. He got a switch onto, I think, Jarace Walker, and then he hunted another switch to get Mathurin on him, and he backed him all the way down. And a shot that we saw Cade make his absolute go-to move last year, he went to with a right hook over the left shoulder, and he wanted a foul there, and it was quite funny. Cade said after, he thought he was fouled, but the whistle didn't go that way. That was his words. But that put the Pistons up by 4, a nice little buffer. The Pacers then call a timeout with about 12 seconds left. They go to Mathurin, who gets a pretty good look in the corner, misses. I thought it was looking good, to be honest, but it misses. And then Asar puts a really nice box out on Siakam, who's doing everything to fight over and grab the board, and he can't secure it, and it goes out of bounds. Pistons get the ball, and I believe they foul Caris LeVert, who got open there just as I thought the Pistons were going to get a 5-second violation. And Caris, who I think was the Pistons player of the game, drained 2 free throws to ice it and secure the dub. But let's go through some players now. That was my general feel of the game. A pretty impressive performance for the most part. And like I said in the preview, I genuinely expected this to be a close game, especially because the Pistons blew out the Pacers last week. and kind of embarrassed them considering how many players we were missing. We had no Cade, we had no Tobias Asar. So I expected them to put up a good fight. And TJ McConnell, who also weirdly played really bad last week, was being a pest. But if we get to some players, I want to start with Caris LeVert. I thought he was incredible tonight. And I think for the past 2 weeks, he's just become the absolute player, and probably more that the Pistons thought they were getting when they signed him. He had 19 points, which was the second highest on the team, 5 of 9 from the field, 3 of 6 from three. Each three was huge. Like, they were all big shots. 3 assists, a steal, a block, and only 1 turnover. Defensively, I feel like he's really picked it up too. Like, he's not now just knocking down his shots. I think defensively he's moving really well. You're seeing him use his length at 6'6", and just be able to disrupt and get a steal here and there. But more importantly, just stay in front of his player and use his size to kind of bother them. And yeah, he drained, like, all 3 of those threes I thought were key. And to get 50% shooting from him from 3 on top of 55% overall is just a huge, huge boost. And I thought he was the player from start to finish for me, even though it was only in 23 minutes, who I thought just really made a lot of key plays for this team. So I would expect him to get the belt tonight following the game. But the next guy I want to chat about, Cade Cunningham. I thought he delivered in the clutch. He did miss a free throw, but he hit the next one to put the Pistons up. I think it was 3 and give them a buffer. But just like, he played 35 minutes. I think in the first half, JB's going to play like 12 guys in the first half. And then in the second half, it seems like he's reining it back to only like 9 guys. But in the first half, Cade only played like 14, 15 minutes, but the team was doing well with him off the floor. And then in the second half, he played the whole third quarter and they really leaned on him. I think I'd like to see JB balance that out maybe a little bit better. Like, instead of playing him the whole third and wearing him down, maybe just, even though you're trying to play 12 guys, just give Cade a couple more minutes in the first half just to keep his rhythm going. But he still finished with 24 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists. He won't get the record for 25 point, 10 assist games in a row, but he had 6 in a row leading into tonight. And like I said, he doesn't get 7, but he had 6 assists and 3 turnovers. I think the Pacers did a really good job limiting Cade and Duren's kind of partnership, if you want to put it like that. They started off quick. Jalen Duren had like 6 points in the first 2 minutes. I was tweeting out, the JD just fries the Pacers. And then I think it's Isaiah Jackson, Jay Huff. They kind of, as well as the ball pressure from Nemhard, they just did a really good job of disrupting those two, being able to run pick and roll. I was kind of screaming for it a bit more towards the end of the game. Like, why are they not going to pick and roll? They were like ISOing a bit more and getting Cade in the mid post. But he played a fine game. Didn't hit a 3 tonight, but only took 2, 8 of 10 from the line. Just a really solid game from your superstar player, and made that clutch shot to kind of close the game and put him up 4. Next guy I want to talk about is Jaden Ivey. Only played 11 minutes tonight after playing 15 the night before, but had 12 points, 5 of 10, hit 2 threes, 3 rebounds, an assist. I think, like, defensively, he's still a bit out of rhythm and still trying to just find his way, but offensively, I feel like he's really hit the ground running. Like, for a guy who has not played, like, last game, I thought he was good. I think he had 10. Then tonight, he had 7 points in the first quarter. Hit an open catch and shoot 3. Had a nice floater for his first bucket. He missed 2, like, kind of double clutch layups, which is something he struggled with for his career. He had, it's like he's got all the moves to get there. He's got, like, even the double clutch finish, and then he just sometimes doesn't have the kind of right spin on the ball or just the right placement off glass for it to go in. He could have easily had 11 in the first quarter. Like, those are 2 layups I think he makes 8 times out of 10. He didn't, but whatever. What I want to talk about was his 5 points and his little spurt there to close the third quarter. When the Pistons were kind of fumbling it, like Cade was running out of gas, they put Jaden Ivey in. He only played like 3 or 4 minutes to close the quarter. Had a really nice drive and kick out to Caris LeVert for a 3, which is that drive we've spoken about where he collapses the defense, kicks it out. Like, that's what he's awesome as a playmaker. And then he also had a really nice double clutch layup over Jay Huff in transition, which I'm sure you've seen by now, but it's kind of a wild, like not a circus shot. That it was a controlled double clutch layup off glass. It was just beautiful. And then he hit a step back three in the corner. I think that puts the Pistons back up 13, which was just a huge shot at that moment because Pacers the whole second half were coming. Like they had the crowd behind them. They were eager to get a win, and to just those shots, even though they're at the end of the third, really come back to help the Pistons towards the end of this game when they were really out of rhythm and the Pacers were really pushing hard, but they just built up just a big enough margin to close the third to hold off the Pacers. I thought as well, Jalen Duren started really well. He had like 17 and 12 for him now is just like a usual night. I thought defensively he was a bit here and there. Huff got him a couple of times, at least with 1-3 I saw, and had him out of position a little bit. I don't think JD lost the battle, but just from what we've become used to from JD this season and in the win streak, probably a bit of a down game for him, but 5 of 8 from the free throw line. Probably something I'm starting to look at. I feel like he's just starting to, I think he was at like high 70s, but it feels like recently he is more edging closer to like a guy that does shoot 5 of 8 more consistently than not. So I'd like to see that get back to more 6 out of 8, 7 out of 8 on a more consistent basis, but he's still getting there. And as long as he's getting to the free throw line and he can knock down, like I said, 1 or 2 more, then that's huge for him and the team. Tobias Harris, I feel like the box score doesn't do him justice. It says he only has 12 points, but I feel like he's come back as well. Maybe it's just the fresh legs. His jumper looks on point. A bit of a scare there in the first half maybe where he came down, partially rolled his ankle on Siakam's foot, and he was lying down for an extra long time where you thought, oh, maybe this is a bit worse, but played out the game. Maybe he does miss a game or two because they're probably just going to treat that ankle really cautiously because both feet kind of came down on Siakam's foot. So, and last time he injured his ankle, he played out the game against Dallas. So we'll see. I hope he doesn't miss time because he's like turnaround in the post is just money. Like they went to that multiple times. He didn't drain the one right down the stretch with only like 2 minutes to go. But outside of that, I feel like he's always making it. Hit a corner three. And just a solid game. Ausar Thompson was the Pistons' best player in the first half. Defensively was just absolutely killing Andrew Nembhard. He had 13 points, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. Turnaround jumper is looking really comfortable. That's something we've seen him do, though, since he was a rookie. He kind of went away from it a little bit last year, but he's always had that turnaround jumper in his bag from like the 15-foot range. Made 2 of those tonight. But yeah, played the 30 minutes. Probably wasn't as aggressive in the second half when the game tightened up, but that's to be expected. He's not going to get as many looks, but I thought defensively was awesome. And he made that key box out on Siakam, who couldn't, because of the box out, couldn't secure the rebound, and then it went out of bounds, and the Pistons got the ball and won. So that's kind of the game for me. Like, there was other key contributors for sure. Dennis and Javonte Green played in the first half, gave some really key minutes. Dennis in particular, in only 7 minutes, had 5 points, 3 assists. Probably would have liked to see him a little bit more when the offense was struggling in the fourth, but I can see why JB just leaned heavily on his starters. But I think Dennis is a guy, and we've seen him be able to give you points even when the pressure ramps up. So those are my key takeaways. Yeah. Oh, and got to shout out Ron Holland. I think Ron's been struggling offensively now for a while. Like, I think we all know that. But he's so young that I'm not worried. But defensively and the effort he's giving on that end has been superb. So I want to shout him out because he had 3 steals and a block tonight in 11 minutes. I just thought his motor, activity, energy, and just his discipline. I thought Siakam got some really soft calls with Ron on him, and I feel like it's just because Ron's a young player. Siakam's an all-star. You give him the benefit of the doubt. But I think Ron, even with those 3 fouls, thought his application to defense was terrific, and it's been something that stood out to me the past few games. So really enjoyed that about Ron, while the offense is kind of just, he doesn't look as confident as he normally is. But That's going to do it for today's show, guys. Please let me know your comments, thoughts below. Appreciate all the support on the channel as well recently. We're pushing to 9,000 subscribers. So thank you to everyone, anyone new, and of course the people who've been here since day one. Appreciate you all. But that'll do for today's video. And as always, go Pistons.